Hey there. So I'm outside. Where else would I be? And I had a chance to catch up with a friend earlier today who gave me this beautiful way of reimagining playing cards. And she decorated it personally, and it says, "Bring joy to the world." And I really love it. And it made me think about what joy is. And we had this really wonderful conversation today about how we are living in these spaces of holding on to grief and at the same time looking for different ways to include joy into our lives and being more intentional about that. The reality of life is that sometimes we're dealing with so many different trying circumstances that we think that joy is elusive. We think that we're not even deserving of experiencing joy because of what we're dealing with. Sometimes I've heard that grief is sadness or anger with no place to go. And it's hard when you are in a space of transition and dealing with such strong and hard emotions like grief. We're all going to be surrounded by grief in so many different ways, and it's not going to be something that we can escape, whether it's something that we come into contact in our personal, professional lives. There's some element of grief that is going to cross our path, whether it's something that we connect to personally or just living in this world, for example. Sometimes we can't help but be touched by the grief that we're seeing and experiencing. So when I look at this card that my friend gave me today, thank you, Linda. Bring joy to the world. I really appreciate it. One of the things that she reminded me of too that I needed to hear, she said, "You bring joy." And depending on the different seasons, that we're in, we can reimagine and define what joy looks like and feels like. I realize that one of the things that I haven't been so intentional about doing, and I'm going to work really hard on it, is embracing joy more every day. Sometimes when you are in the thick of whatever situations you're dealing with, it's hard to find that. And I'm realizing that joy doesn't have to be this big, huge thing, right? Sometimes we think it has to be some big, huge thing. Joy can be something as simple as meeting up with a friend, something as simple as getting a card that says "Bring joy to the world." I love anything written and things handmade. And I realized that I miss doing that. I used to buy different cards. At one point, I said I should just get a job with Hallmark or even create my own cards. I would get cards and I would decorate the envelopes and always include handwritten notes and special decorated envelopes for whoever was receiving a card from me, expected or unexpected. And I realized that those little things make a difference in so many different ways. In this process of reimagining what joy is, I'm understanding that joy can be as simple as, for me, being able to sit outside. It's super windy, but the sun is out today. Joy is something as simple as enjoying a refreshing drink, having an opportunity to walk up and down the street in my Troy neighborhood, connecting with friends, carving out a moment to just simply pause and sit still as the wind passes by and the trees are rustling. Joy is as simple as catching up with a friend who randomly says, "Hey, I love you," as you're passing by. I'm 23 days into this storytelling challenge, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes there are moments where I'm wondering, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I realize that I'm stepping into a new era and chapter in my life. And that chapter is focused on storytelling. And my hope and intent in this process is that as I share more stories, I hope to make connections and build community. I'm realizing that sharing more of my voice creates that opportunity of knowing that there's one person that finds joy in the stories that I'm sharing. And that makes my heart glad. It really does. I'm feeling more joy, especially today, because sometimes you need that moment to realize that in the imperfect messiness of life, there are so many little moments that we keep missing. We kind of spend a lot of time focusing on what we don't have. And I'm realizing more about what I do have. Leaning more into prayer and meditation is keeping me grounded and making me appreciate all the little joys that have come through today and tomorrow and any other day. So that's my thought for today. You are amazing. Whatever you're dealing with is temporary. And this is a reminder that you are bringing joy to the world every day with your presence, every day with your story. Sometimes it might not feel like it. And sometimes you might feel that joy is elusive and it's missing you when you think about all the different things that you're dealing with. But if you really take a moment to pause, joy found you today. And you may not even realize it. Joy never escapes from letting you know that you are deserving of it.